All right, let's talk about one of the most intense human beings on the planet, David Goggins. His book Can't Hurt Me is really built on this one brutally simple idea. You can take imaginable suffering and forge it into unbreakable strength. But to really get how he does it, you first have to understand the absolute hell he came from.
This quote right here, this is the heart of the entire Goggins philosophy. It's a wake-up call. He's not just saying comfort is kind of nice but bad for you. No, he's arguing it's the single biggest danger to your potential. It's that soft, easy life that guarantees you'll never find out what you're really made of.
And that brings us to this number, 40%. Now, according to Goggins, this isn't just some random figure. It's a mental wall, a barrier that defines the lives of pretty much everyone. It's that point where we all just give up.
This is what he famously calls the 40% rule. The idea is shockingly simple. When your mind is screaming at you to stop, when every fiber of your being feels completely done, you've actually only used up about 40% of your real capacity. The other 60% is just sitting there, locked behind a mental wall. And David Goggins' entire life is about learning how to smash right through it.
So how in the world does someone develop a mindset like that? Well, to understand the man, we have to go back to the boy. We have to go back to his childhood on a street ironically named Paradise Road.
I mean, just look at this. It perfectly captures the insane disconnect of his early life. To the outside world, they were the American dream, living in a rich suburb, successful father, fancy cars, the whole deal. But behind closed doors, it was a nightmare. He was living with a man he literally calls the devil himself.
This wasn't a childhood. This was a prison work schedule for a 6-year-old. Every single night, David and his brother were basically forced into slave labor at their father's skating rink. He was managing the skate rental counter all by himself at 6 years old, cleaning disgusting toilets late at night, and then trying to sleep on a sofa while the bar upstairs was literally shaking the building. This was his normal.
The labor was brutal, but the physical violence was even worse. This quote is one of the most chilling things in the book. It's what his father, Toughness, would say before a beating. One night, after his father beat his mother bloody, young David just snapped. He jumped on his father's back, trying to fight him. It was his first real act of defiance against this terrifying monster.
After that beating, his mom called the cops, but instead of getting help, they got a lesson in abandonment. Her husband just charmed the officers, told him it was just domestic discipline. And the cops? They laughed with him and left. In that moment, they knew they were utterly alone. The one system that's supposed to protect you just sided with your abuser.
So, trapped, with no one to turn to, Goggins' mother knew she had to do something drastic. She realized it wasn't a matter of if someone was going to die on Paradise Road, but when. And that led to a desperate and incredibly courageous escape plan.
Now, this wasn't some impulsive decision. It was a calculated mission. His mother had to pretend to be the devoted partner all over again just to get his signature on a credit card application. That card was their only financial lifeline. Then, when the moment was right, she told him they were leaving and they fled with everything they owned in garbage bags, using a hidden road she'd already scouted to escape him.
But the escape almost failed. 90 miles from home, in the middle of nowhere, their car dies. His mom panics, his older brother wants to go back to the only life he knows. And in that moment of complete crisis, it's 8-year-old David who finds the strength. He just looks at his mom and says, "We gotta go, Mom."
They made it. They got to a small town called Brazil, Indiana. They were finally free from their father, but they were not free from the trauma. Escaping the abuser was just step one. The real fight, the one inside his own head, was just getting started.
You know, there's a clinical term for what Goggins was going through: toxic stress. That constant state of fight or flight literally rewires a kid's developing brain. For Goggins, it showed up as a terrible stutter, his hair falling out in patches, and massive learning disabilities. He was the poster child for an at-risk youth.
And this comparison just shows how much your environment can make or break you. In 2nd grade, this nun, Sister Catherine, she was tough, but she took the time to figure out how he learned. She gave him that no excuses mentality. But in 3rd grade, Ms. D just saw him as a problem, yelled at him, and threatened to send him to a special school. That fear just pushed Goggins to start cheating to survive, which dug him into an even deeper hole.
For a couple of years, though, things actually started to look up. His mom met a man named Wilmoth, a genuinely good person who became the father figure David never had. They got engaged. A stable future actually seemed possible. And then, the day after Christmas, Wilmoth was brutally murdered. Any shred of safety or hope Goggins had found was just violently ripped away. Again.
So, what do you do with a life like that? A childhood defined by abuse, racism, poverty, learning disabilities, tragedy? Well, according to Goggins, you don't run from it, you use it. And this brings us to his very first challenge in the book, learning how to turn your bad hand into fuel.
And this is where he turns the question directly to you. We just walked through his story. Now he asks you to look at your own. What is your bad hand? What are the things you use as an excuse for why you can't get ahead? Are you the one standing in your own way?
This first challenge is all about brutal honesty. He tells you to write it all down. Every single disadvantage, every setback, every insecurity. You have to give your pain a shape. Look it dead in the eye and own it. This isn't about feeling sorry for yourself. It's about taking inventory of the raw material you're going to use to rebuild your life. This is your fuel.
And that's where he leaves you. This whole journey isn't about fighting the world, or your past, or your circumstances. It's about confronting the softness and the limits inside your own mind. It's the first step in a long, brutal, and transformative war against the person you are today so you can become the person you were always meant to be.